King Cuz back on the Festo channel again. Have you ever had a P0128 code on your Duramax truck? Well, that shows that the thermostats in the truck are not able to reach operating temperatures. So in my truck, my 2007.5 LMM Duramax, I've got this code and I need to replace the thermostats in the truck. And I thought, what a better time than to, if I got to pull the factory housing, to upgrade that housing to the HSP thermostat housing that they have, which is front facing. So it's going to clean up the engine bay, replace the thermostats. We've also got another little thing here to do, fuel rail plug, while we've got all that pulled apart and cleaned up. So now that you see the kit here, let's get the install started.
First thing we did, disconnect the negative battery cable on each side. Then I took a 3/8 inch ratchet with a swivel head and put a 1/2 inch adapter on it. Go right down there where this tensioner is, get it right in the front, and you can loosen the tensioner up without removing this Y-bridge pipe. Belt off top of the alternator here, and we've pulled the belt off the top of the compressor. All right, in order to get this compressor out, Cuz pulling the plugs off, pry it up right here and a little bit right there, while at the same time using another screwdriver to twist right here. And it put pressure on this and allowed that to come out. Got her loose. You just flip her up and out of the way here. Our ratchet strap holding it up in place. All right, he just took that 10mm off the back of the alternator, and that way he could take and move this wiring harness over top of the housing there. All right, got that pulled out. We take the ones out of the top of the housing next.
Yep.
Disconnected the hose.
Oh, you have? That's all we need.
Finger the bottom of that. Get it in there.
You done disconnect my Duramax.
Had to get the wrench and stick it way up under that bracket, underneath where this connector is. Can't see it from the top, but you can see it from the front of the truck. And you gotta snake it down there to get that other side of that bracket loose. All right, he's disconnected the hose, got it off. Now he's pulling it out.
Ooh, the gasket's right there.
And you can see that
gasket's
one
stuck.
gasket stuck to the top there. And so it's missing down there. But there's the thermostats. So that's what we're about to replace next, along with this oil fill tube. All right, man, he's throwing them bolts back in that bracket. Done with that bracket.
Fuel rail plug, hard line.
Other side's a little harder to get to, huh?
Yeah.
But it's a little bit easier with that housing out the way. Got both sides of the fuel line loose there. Just gonna feed it out. Knocked it loose. So what are we looking at, Cuz?
So that fuel rail plug, that small tiny hole, and the PPE plug.
Oh wow.
Much
we're gonna
bigger
put that
hole.
one back in there. What's the steps?
So we're gonna put a little petroleum jelly on the threads and thread it in and tighten it down to 52 foot-pounds.
Lines back in place, tightened up on both sides.
So when replacing this thermostat, we want to make sure that these holes point towards the back of the engine. So this is the 85 degrees thermostat, and this is the 82 degree thermostat right here.
Okay.
So 82 in the back, 85 in the
bolt
front.
pull up on the fill neck at the same time, and that way the bolt stays in the little hole of the fill neck. There it goes, the old fill neck. And there's a new fill neck. He's lubed up the O-ring with some oil. He's putting it on, ready to go into the truck. Cleaning off any residue from this housing before we put the new thermostats back in. Get ready to go to the other side of the turbo line. So to facilitate that, because it's taking this boot off, I'm gonna flip this hose out of the way. Part of the upper housing going on. Thermostats are in place in their correct orientation. Now we're going to crank these bolts down to 18 foot-pounds. He's going to go back and forth across and tighten them down evenly as he's doing it. And that way it'll make that housing go down level. I don't think it's going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere. That's
Putting the hose back on the turbo. We're going to tighten these right here down to 9 foot-pounds. Alright, putting that bolt back on the alternator. AC compressor's been torqued back down. We set that at 37 foot-pounds. Alright, you got it tensioned back up. Belt back on. Put the 3-inch hose on this long pipe. Slid it over top of here. Tighten these down. We cut the other tube to size. Got it over a bump on each side, and we've got that tightened down. Up the oil fill tube at the bottom. Now he's tightening the bracket up on the side of it. Right, that bottom bracket is tightened down. Put about 15 foot-pounds on it. Now we're going to tighten up the other side on the shroud. And what you want to do is you want to center the plastic shroud in the centered within this whole frame. And that'll keep the blades from rubbing on the sides of it. If you get it crooked, the sides of the ends of the blades could rub it. You don't want that. Always get the stock air box back in now. Make sure the little tubes go down through the holes when you're putting that back in. And there's a gasket right over there. You want to make sure that goes back and seals good against the fender, so you're only sucking in cold air. But man, she's looking good. Let's go ahead and connect these batteries back up and put some coolant in there. Crank it up and look for any leaks here on the coolant or on the fuel piece that we replaced. Yeah. Yeah. Cranked up.
Ran the vehicle, brought it up to operating temp, 182 degrees. Started feeling heat through the crossover pipe, and 185, both thermostats should have opened. Coolant tank dropped just a tad, have heat through the crossover tube. Then noticed on the CTS monitor, edge monitor inside, that the coolant temps started dropping. So we know that the thermostats are opening and it's doing its job. I want to say thank you to Gregg Festo and the channel. Thanks for the help on the Duramax. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, sirree. Another job well done. And we're out.